Beneath the crushing weight of untold water, where sunlight dies and silence reigns, ancient secrets slumber. The ocean's depths cradle forgotten tales, whispered on unseen currents. Tonight, we invite you to plunge into the abyss, where legends are born and the true darkness awaits. Listen closely.
The name's Old Jack. A gruff cough rumbles in his chest, then a slight wheeze. And this be the tale of the bell that rang in the void. Aye, 'twas a cursed patch o' water off the Iron Isles, near where the currents twist like a hanged man's rope. We were bound for Nordhorn years ago on the Sea Serpent. A good, sturdy brig she was. But the sea, she don't care for sturdy. She cares for what she wants. And that night, she wanted something strange, I tell ya. The fog rolled in thick as a whale's gut, swallowing the stars whole. Couldn't see your own hand in front of your face, let alone a masthead light. The waves were silent, just a soft slapping against the hull, like a blind man feeling his way. And the air, it was heavy, pressing down, making you feel small, insignificant, like a fly on the ocean's skin. We were navigating by dead reckoning, hoping to clear the Black-Tooth Shoals by morning. Then it started. A bell. Not a buoy bell, mind ye. Them clang and clatter with the waves. This was a deep, mournful tolling. One, then another, slow, deliberate. Sounded like a church bell, but we were 100 miles from any shore. Imagine that, a church bell out here. Captain Thorgood, a man who feared naught but dry land, he looked pale as a mackerel's belly. Sent out a lookout to the bow, then another, then half the crew were straining their ears into the gloom. The bell kept on, always the same pace, always sounding like it was just beyond our reach, always just ahead. We tried to steer towards it, figuring maybe it was some poor soul's wreck or a lost marker. But no matter which way we turned, the sound stayed ahead. It was always there, always out of sight, like a shadow playing tricks on you. The men got jumpy, whispering about ghost ships and drowned priests. I even heard one lad muttering prayers under his breath, bless his soul. We sailed on for hours, the bell tolling our course, or maybe our doom. Then, just as the first grey light of dawn began to tear at the fog, the bell stopped. Just like that. No fade, no last clang. Silence. A silence so loud it made your ears ache. And when the sun finally burned through the last wisps of mist, there was nothing. No wreck, no buoy, no rock. Just endless, empty sea. We never saw it again, that bell. Never found what was making the sound. But every man aboard that night, we knew. We knew it weren't no ordinary bell. It was a warning, or maybe a calling. The sea, she's full of things best left unexplained, lad. Things that ring in the void and leave you wondering what exactly is out there, beyond the reach of man.
The name's Mick One-Eye, and this be the tale of the cursed deck of the Silent Maid. Pull up a stool, lad, and I'll spin ye yarn that'll curdle your grog, I swear it on me mother's grave. We were on the old Silent Maid, a good sturdy vessel, though prone to long spells of calm when the wind took a holiday. Bound for the Horn we were, and the days stretched out like a worn-out rope, endless and thin. Boredom, aye, that be a sailor's truest enemy sometimes, worse than any kraken. It was during one such becalmed patch that a new hand, a quiet, pale lad named Finn, pulled out a deck of cards. Now, I'd seen me share of decks, from the fancy ones with golden trim to the dog-eared things fit only for kindling. But these were different. Old they were, faded gold on the backs, with strange, unsettling symbols instead of the usual patterns. And the faces, not your rosy-cheeked kings and queens, but gaunt, hollow-eyed figures, their smiles more like sneers, their eyes following you no matter how ye held 'em. Found 'em in an old sea chest, Mick, Finn mumbled, avoiding me gaze.
Belonged to a previous crew, maybe. We started playing poker just to pass the time. Harmless enough, you'd think, but right from the start, there was something off. The cards felt cold, even in the warmest hand, and the winners.
Aye, they'd win the pot, but soon after, some bitter ill luck would strike. Young Seamus, he won a tidy sum one afternoon, then slipped on the deck, breaking his arm on a capstan. Old man Tiber, the boatswain, he won big next, only to find half his tobacco pouch soaked through with salt water later that watch. It warn't natural, I tell ye. Then came the whispers, faint at first, like the creak o' the ship's timbers, but sometimes clearer, like a sigh carrying on the wind.
And the Queen of Spades, that was the worst of 'em. Whoever was dealt that card in a winning hand, a truly bad turn of fortune would be theirs. O'Malley, he got it one night, and the very next morning his rope snapped clean, sending him tumbling from the mast. Only by the grace of God did he catch himself. One stormy night, the wind howling like a banshee, we were below decks, huddled round a game. The ship was tossing something fierce. Old Tiber dealt himself the Queen of Spades, a triumphant grin on his face. But just as he laid her down, a monstrous wave crashed o'er the silent maid, tearing through the deck, sweeping away 3 barrels of fresh water, and nearly taking young Tim with him. "It's the cards!" someone shrieked, and we all looked at that cursed deck, then at the furious sea. We agreed then and there, they had to go. Finn, bless his pale heart, finally agreed. We gathered 'em all up, bound 'em tight with rope, and weighted 'em heavy. Felt like we were burying a wee babe, so cold and heavy they were in me hands. Overboard they went, with a splash lost in the roar of the storm. The moment they hit the water, the storm, already fierce, turned into a bleeding hurricane. We fought for our lives that night, sailing through hell. But through the spray and the black of the night, I caught a glimpse, lad. Floatin's there, bobbing on a monstrous wave, clear as day, was a single card. The Queen of Spades, looking right at me, with a glint in her painted eye. We survived, aye, but the silent maid was a wreck. And Finn was gone after that storm, vanished without a trace, never a word. Never saw that deck again, praise be to all it's holy. But I tell ye, some things from the deep, they ain't meant for human hands. And if ye ever see a deck of cards that ain't quite right, just walk away, lad, walk away.
The name's Elias the Calm, and this be the tale of the Bell of the Unseen Shoal. Aye, there be parts o' the ocean, lads, that the charts don't rightly capture. Not because man hasn't tried, mind ye, but because the sea itself ain't keen on giving up all its secrets. It was years ago now, sailing the sea serpent through them western reaches, where the currents twist and turn like a knotted rope. A quiet run it was, too quiet for my liking, under a sky that always seemed a bit too pale, even at noon. The calm was deep, a heavy cloak upon the water, and often a mist would roll in, thin as a spirit's breath, just enough to blur the horizon. It was then we first heard it, a faint ding-dong, carried on the air, low and mournful, like a buoy bell, but there wasn't a single buoy charted for 100 leagues. We checked the maps. We checked them twice. Nothing. Just the wind playing tricks, young Thomas said, but his voice lacked conviction, and his eyes kept drifting over the waves. Old Captain Finn, a man who'd seen more than most, he just stroked his beard, his gaze fixed on the endless grey. "A ghost bell," he murmured, "or a warning." The bell, it followed us for days, never closer, never farther, just always there, a whisper at the edge of hearing. Sometimes it felt like it was behind us, other times ahead. It wasn't the sound that chilled you to the bone, not exactly. It was the knowing that it shouldn't be there, that the sea was trying to tell us something, or perhaps show us. One night, the moon was just a sliver, and the mist came down thick, thick as clotted cream. The ding-dong grew clearer then, closer than it had ever been. It wasn't just a sound now. It carried a weight, a sorrow that pressed down on the deck. The ship felt it too, the timbers groaning low, like a living thing in distress. I tell ye, the very air tasted of salt and old grief. We could almost feel the cold pull of whatever lay beneath the surface, the unseen shoal that had swallowed a ship and left only its bell to toll in the darkness. Captain Finn, bless his old heart, he didn't hesitate. "Hard to port! All hands! Get us out of this!" he roared, his voice cutting through the mist and the bell's mournful song. We clawed our way out, battling currents that tried to hold us fast. It took hours, but slowly, blessedly, the bell faded, until it was just a memory, though one that never quite leaves you. We never saw the shoal, never saw the ship that must have sunk upon it. But the ocean, she remembers. She holds on to the echoes of her lost ones. And sometimes, lads, she lets you hear 'em. That bell, it wasn't a warning for us, not truly. It was a lament from the deep, a song for a crew long drowned, forever tolling where the charts ain't got no name. And sometimes, even now, when the night is dark and the waves just right, I swear I can still hear it, faint, but always there.
Tales from the deep. But as the currents shift, so too does truth. Which of these were whispers of legend, and which echoes of reality? Share your guesses below. And for more untold sailor's yarn, alongside breathtaking footage of the ocean's raw, untamed power, subscribe to Sea of Savage. Until the next tide.